Once upon a time, in a sun-drenched village called Abeni, there lived a beggar named Kofi. Every single morning, before the rooster's first crow even faded, Kofi would make his way to the busy crossroads. This was where the dust met the wind, and the world rushed past him in a blur. His eyes were heavy with weariness. His clothes were just torn rags, and in his trembling hands, he held an old wooden bowl, cracked from years and years of waiting. Each day, Kofi would call out in a soft, tired voice, "A coin for the poor, a crumb for the hungry." Some kind villagers would drop a few coins into his bowl. Many others would just look away, and some would even cross to the other side of the road to avoid him. Kofi had started to believe that the world had truly forgotten him, that life had absolutely nothing left to offer. He was convinced that poverty was his unchangeable destiny. But one evening, just as the fiery crimson sun began to melt behind a giant baobab tree, a stranger arrived in Abeni. He was a wise old man, wrapped in a cloak of faded colors. He leaned on a walking stick that was beautifully carved with symbols of suns, rivers, and watchful eyes. His face held a deep, profound calm, the kind you see in someone who has walked through many lifetimes. The stranger sat down right beside Kofi and watched silently as the last of the villagers disappeared into their homes for the night. Then, he spoke. His voice was gentle but firm. "You have asked all day for something to fill your bowl," he said, "yet you have not once asked yourself what you can place inside it." Kofi frowned, confused. "I have nothing to give," he muttered. "My hands are empty. My life is empty." The old man smiled a knowing smile. "Then fill it with something greater than coins," he advised. "Fill it with your spirit." Before Kofi could even ask what he meant, the stranger rose to his feet and began to walk toward the setting sun. His figure shimmered in the evening heat, like a mirage above the sand, and then he was gone. That night, Kofi couldn't sleep. The old man's words danced in his mind like fireflies. "Fill your bowl with your spirit." It was a puzzle he couldn't solve. When dawn broke, Kofi took his usual spot at the crossroads. But this time, something felt different. Instead of just waiting with his hand out, he started to look around, to truly see the world. And that's when he noticed a small bird lying by the roadside, its wing twisted and broken. For the first time in years, Kofi completely forgot about his own hunger. He lifted the tiny, fragile bird gently into his hands. He tore a small piece from his own tattered sleeve and carefully wrapped the broken wing. Then, he set his wooden bowl down in front of the bird, filled it with a little water he had, and smiled. As people passed by, they paused. They were used to seeing the beggar who always asked for help, but now, they saw him giving it. The children started whispering amongst themselves, the women smiled warmly, and the men at the market gate nodded their heads with a newfound respect. One by one, people began to approach him. They offered him food, bandages for the bird, and even a small mat so he could rest more comfortably. Days turned into weeks. The bird healed under Kofi's care, and one bright morning, it flew from his hands, soaring high into the sky. As it rose, the sunlight caught its wings, and for just a brief, magical moment, it shone like pure gold. From that day forward, Kofi was a changed man. He started helping others in any way he could. He shared his food with stray dogs, guided blind elders across the busy street, and told wonderful stories to the children who gathered around him at dusk. He no longer begged, he gave. And the more he gave, the more life seemed to give right back to him. When anyone asked him what had caused such a profound change, Kofi would smile and say, "Once, I thought my bowl was only for receiving. But I learned it was made for giving, and that's when my life truly began to overflow." Soon, Kofi's story spread far beyond Abeni. People from nearby villages traveled just to meet the beggar with the giving bowl. And though he never had any riches or gold, Kofi became the most respected man in the entire region, a teacher of kindness, a keeper of wisdom. Years later, when he was old and gray, Kofi returned to the very same crossroads where he once begged. He sat beneath the baobab tree, holding his bowl one last time. A young traveler happened to pass by and asked him, "Old man, why do you smile so?" Kofi looked up at the sunlit sky and said softly, "Because I learned that when you change your mind, You change your world. The eyes that only see lack will always feel poor, but the heart that sees abundance will never be empty. And as the wind carried his words across the fields, it was said that the spirit of the old storyteller, the stranger from long ago, appeared one more time, nodding in approval before vanishing into the light. The moral of this story is simple, yet powerful. True wealth isn't what you receive, but what you give. When you shift your mindset from a place of need to a place of purpose, your life transforms, and so does the world around you. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales that inspire.